Good evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and welcome to News in Focus. My name is Faraz Badla. I would like to thank you, the viewer, for staying with us here on Hilaal TV, TSTV channel 347. Let's get right into it. Yesterday, the MK party handed over a memorandum to the leadership of the police at the Gauteng provincial headquarters in support of KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. The party says it wants to save the country from crime and corruption. Over a week ago, Mkhwanazi made serious allegations against several high-profile individuals in the police, including Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. Today, we saw a march that was happening in KwaZulu-Natal in support of Mkhwanazi. Joining me now, I'd like to welcome the national spokesperson of the MK party, Nhlamulo Ndlela. Nhlamulo, always a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Faraz, and good afternoon. Should I say good evening to your
it is evening. Yeah, no, definitely. Nhlamulo, I think let's start off, of course, with this commission of inquiry. It's another a stack of commissions of inquiries that President Ramaphosa has established. Is the MK party confident that after the 6 months, some sort of outcome will be seen from this?
This is no more than what should be characterized as, justice denied is justice delayed. What we're seeing here is, what we refer to as a political laundromat, and this is what these commissions or judicial commissions of inquiries are. They are nothing more than just political laundromats for politicians, governments, to in effect clean up their dirty politics, their undergrounded activities, tentacles, and ill-fated decisions that they've taken on behalf of South Africans that they don't want South Africans to know details about. And what they then do, especially if you look at what General Mkhwanazi has said, General Mkhwanazi stated categorically that the judiciary itself is compromised and they are complicit in the activities as per the investigations that the political killings task team has, discovered. And so he cannot now, request South Africans or expect South Africans in this case to, have trust in a process where the same judiciary that's supposed to preside over the same judicial, commission of inquiry is compromised in of itself. Remember, as Mkhonto says, one of the things that we have requested is we've stated categorically that we want to see all the judges' disclosures, and we actually, in fact, we've written to the registrar of in the Ministry of Justice to say we want to see who are these judges, what are their disclosures with the registrar, because we believe that the judiciary is corrupt. The minister herself has stated that indeed she cannot say that judges are not in any way implicated in criminality, and therefore this is an erosion of trust from the public, and this judiciary, quite honestly, cannot be trusted. In the same way, what has happened and what has been unpacked is that, if you look at just the work that Mkhwanazi has done with the team and the political killings task team, there's been 436 arrests and about 500 odd charges. What I need to understand is, why do you need a commission of inquiry when clearly, and it's demonstrable, that the political killings task team is doing their work? What we need is not a political laundromat in the form of a commission of inquiry. What we need is for the arrests. We are calling upon General Mkhwanazi, and that's why we're protecting him with the strikes that you have seen ensuing, that, he is protecting South Africans, he's protecting democracy, he's protecting the state of our country's sovereignty by exposing these politicians, of which also, remember, lawmakers in the form of parliamentarians are also implicated as per his presentation to the nation. So we're saying that we have to protect people such as General Mkhwanazi. Maybe we should actually call him Dr. Mkhwanazi after this. But, we cannot allow for this system to intimidate our police, to intimidate South Africans, and for South Africans to continue living in fear, where South Africans are dying. 64 to 72 South Africans are dying on a monthly basis, and all you can come out and do as a so-called president is then come and say that that we must wait for another 6 months when you have been incompetent from day one, because you're a political, he is a political and a constitutional delinquent himself. Remember, in terms of Phala itself, the same Senzo Mchunu that he doesn't fire, that he just puts on special leave, is carrying an IPID report that implicates him. And he has actually gone to the extent with that IPID report and gone and classified it top secret. Why? So he knows that if he doesn't demonstrate any political patronage to his friend or his comrade, being Senzo Mchunu, that he's going to end up being in serious trouble because Senzo Mchunu will have no other option but to expose that.
And Nhlamulo, that's why I want to come into this, because obviously Senzo Mchunu has been put in a current leave, special leave, as they would term it. MK Party, of course, you've come out and said not only must he be fired as the Minister of Police, but also he needs to be arrested. Given that, of course, Senzo Mchunu has a very close relationship with President Ramaphosa, not only in the ANC, but also within the cabinet, do you honestly see that happening?
Well, it's not about him happening. And this is the thing. South Africans need to know that we've got the power here. It's not politicians that have the power. Lawmakers, members of parliament, the cabinet, we are where we are because of South Africans. South Africans need to take their power back. And if we have to do it even by form of, demonstrations, that's what we need to do. Now, if you look at the political patronage that you're now touching on, the reality is, firstly, the president, we've said, is flouting the Constitution, Section 98 and Section 91.3. And what we're saying is he should have fired Senzo Mchunu and, as per Section 98, then take on a temporary basis, identify a cabinet minister who would then preside on a temporary basis until such a time that they're able to appoint a minister from within cabinet. So there's many other parliamentarians that they have in the National Assembly as the ANC that the president can choose from. What's wrong with that? So what we're saying is that this so-called decision of special leave is unconstitutional. It is costing South Africans money because this minister will continue to enjoy the perks of being a minister. He'll have security. He'll have his blue lights. He'll be able to fly. He'll still have the access to the state house that's allocated to him. This is not correct. This is not right. And this is a person that has been implicated, in criminality and fraternizing with underworld criminals. We can't afford that. So our country, by virtue of this decision, has been reduced to nothing more than a mafia state run by an underground world. And unfortunately, the president, naturally so, is complicit.
And Nhlamulo, one final question. Obviously, the MK Party, quite vociferous in their support for General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. At the end of the 6 months, is the MK Party still going to be convinced that Mkhwanazi will come out with no scars on his back or face, that at the end of this he will be justified with regards to that press conference he gave on July the 6th, 2025?
Well, firstly, we don't want a 6 months process. We're saying to General Mkhwanazi, arrest them now. There's no need for commission of inquiry, first and foremost. South Africans are tired of the crime that continues to surge and lead South Africans to live in fear. We're tired of that. So we're saying, General Mkhwanazi, arrest them. We're going to call for General Mkhwanazi to appear before SCOPA and before Parliament for him to tell us how he actually goes about this and what needs to be done and what support he needs from Parliament for him to execute his duties, without any interference. That's the first thing. So we don't want a 6 months process and a turnaround time. If there is any, which we've seen all of a sudden, there's all sorts of cases that are now trying to creep up. We know we're in a political space. We know that they're going to try and politicize this. We know that he's targeting close to 54 political killings. I don't remember 112 cases that have been archived by Sibia. 54 of those are politically based, political killings, which are specific. And that's where we know that probably there's parliamentarians in there, which we are quite sure of, are part of the GNU, the members, because he did mention members of parliament in there as well. So we're saying that he must arrest every single one of them. We don't want a commission of inquiry that's not going to be, shoving under the carpet members of cabinet, names of politicians, so that it doesn't embarrass the ANC and their GNU leading up to the local government elections. We're saying to General Mkhwanazi, arrest them, charge them, just as you have done with the 436, when no one else was interrupting with your process and your cases and your investigations. Continue, arrest them, and we will protect you as well as South Africans.
Nhlamulo Ndlela, always a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
That's Nhlamulo Ndlela, the national spokesperson of the Umkhonto weSizwe Party. Well, we're going to be continuing this conversation on Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. We're going to be speaking to Judges Matter with regards to the judiciary. Just last week, he also mentioned that the judiciary has been put under threat with regards to these criminal syndicates. What does this mean with regards to this? The conversation is after the break.